Great. Well, being here with us today. As you see and have known and have read in our communications, we are hoping to make the bilingualism matters in Latin America, el bilingüismo importa en América Latina, a little bit more of a cohesive network. So we had quite a few respondents, more than are currently on the call. So hopefully others will enter. And others are not able to be present today, and they've made that clear. We're hoping to keep this going, and this is an inaugural conversation, nothing more. So we will keep it to an hour. We will be very brief. And that said, let's just get started. I am Nanette Archer Svensson. I am co-founder, researcher, and promoter of the Centro de Investigación Educativa in Panama, our first education research center in the country, a little over a decade now. I'm also now a visiting scholar at the School of Education, University of California, Irvine, with Judith Kroll, who most people on this call will know as distinguished professor at the School of Education at UC Irvine, and the Bilingualism Matters in California leader. So together with Judy and Macarena Karczewski in Chile at the University of Talca, we are trying to get this initiative launched. And we are very lucky to have with us today also Antonella Sorachi and Kat, I believe, as well. Yes. Presbician, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, of the original Bilingualism Matters initiative founded at the University of Edinburgh years ago, that gave the impetus for all of this collection of bilingualism scholars and community engagement. So we're hoping to continue that tradition in Latin America with more cohesiveness, and that's what we're talking about today. So I will quickly proceed to give you the general idea as promoted by Bilingualism Matters in Edinburgh and at UCI through Judy at that Bilingualism Matters in California. And then we will just go around with quick introductions, self-introductions. If everybody could be very concise, we would certainly appreciate it, because that will give us time to get through everybody and also talk about some of the next things on our agenda, which are issues and priorities, objectives for this network, and potential next steps. I've tried to put everything on the slides in English and Spanish. I could not do Portuguese. In the future, we're hoping to integrate that a little bit more effectively as well. For today, we welcome, if anybody would like to speak in Spanish as opposed to English, please feel free. I think many of us speak both English and Spanish, and we will be happy to make accommodations for any of that. And we're open to suggestions, and moving forward, we will explore all kinds of opportunities to engage in all the languages of the region. But for today, we were sort of thinking that English is probably going to be our most common denominator. So we will continue with that. So next, this is the mission of Bilingualism Matters. This is what appears on the website, that it's a growing community seeking to engage the public with the latest research about bilingualism and language learning, to share perspectives on bilingual education, language learning, and the bilingual experience. That's basically what we're after throughout the world, and specifically now in Latin America, because there are a lot of amazing people doing a lot of amazing work in all different aspects of this. But we feel we could be stronger with a little more cohesive action, and stronger with engaging with our publics collectively and individually through some kind of network like this, or with the support of a network like this. So that's the general goal. And now we are defining this idea of the Latin network together. I mean, Macarena and I are together with Judy and Antonella and Kat, sort of throwing it out there, but this will be a joint initiative, certainly. So quickly, I will proceed with the I will proceed to pass this to Antonella and Kat, either or both of you, if that's acceptable, for a self intro, since these are the godmothers of this concept with regard to bilingualism matters. And I would love it if one or both of them would tell us about their organization and themselves and their research and initiatives.
Okay, if I can start, can you hear me?
We
Yeah.
can. Thank you.
I'll be very brief, and then I'll let Kat, expand on various things. I do research on bilingualism, multilingualism, language learning over the lifespan, mostly from a linguistic and cognitive perspective, at the University of Edinburgh. And I'm Italian. I'm also, I have experience of not only of learning languages, but also raising bilingual children. And that was one of the reasons why 16 years ago, 17 years ago, I founded the original Bilingualism Matters, because I felt that we had some responsibility, those of us who work in these areas, to build bridges between research and society so that people can make better decisions about their children, their students, their patients, their policies, etc., etc. So this is who I am. And then, 5 years ago, Bilingualism Matters spun out, and it became a non-profit organization. And the CEO and co-director of that organization is Kat Cibicin. And this is my well-practiced way of pronouncing her name, because as an Italian, that's a difficult name. Polish is difficult for us, so many consonants together. So I'll be happy to let Kat continue.
Great. Thank you, Antonella. Kat, take it away.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you all. We haven't been that much on the other side of the pond, as we say here in Scotland. I am Polish, as Antonella mentioned. I've been in Scotland for 20 years, and for the last 10, I've been working with Bilingualism Matters, and the last 5 years, or nearly 5 years, as a CEO of the social enterprise that spun out of the University of Edinburgh. So as Nanette was mentioning, we are a community that seeks to engage the public. We have done it in an unstructured way initially, and then over time we grew a structure. That structure now is changing. At the moment, it's still the sort of made of branches, what we call, and Judy is hosting a third branch already. So she's already she moved around, and every time she moved somewhere, she would set up another branch. But the structure of branches will be ending, and we would be delighted to see and hear from you how you would like to organize it, because perhaps you can inspire as well and inform how the new Bilingualism Matters sort of community globally could be organized, because you come with the fresh, I suppose, energy and view on this topic. I am not a linguist in any way. I am multilingual. I speak 4 languages, but my specialization and PhD was in knowledge exchange. So I covered the aspect of how to communicate knowledge that comes from research to the public. And I can do this now in 4 languages, but Spanish is one of them. So I would be delighted to speak some Spanish. You can check for yourselves how good it is. But if we can continue with English, I'm happy to do that as well. So thank you very much, and welcome everyone.
Thank you, Kat. That's great. Well, that gives you all an idea for how this all got started. And I will continue with the self-intro. Macarena, could you put that slide up? I'm going to share this with you again because it will help this next one. It will allow me to talk about me and how I actually got to bilingual Bilingualism Matters, and to Antonella and Judith. As I told you, my name is Nanette Archer Svensson. I'm originally from California, but have spent the last almost 30 years in Panama, the Republic of Panama. So I am now bilingual, have raised bilingual children, just as Antonella has, and have been working bilingually for a long time, initially with the UN, and then in the last decade with this Centro de Investigación Educativa. And that took me to speak in UNESCO in Paris last year on a panel for the Languages Matter Silver Jubilee celebration of International Mother Language Day with Antonella and a couple of other wonderful speakers from around the world. And that sort of started our association. And I have been spending increasing time in California over the last couple of years. So through Antonella and California, she introduced me to Judith Kroll, who most of you know, I believe, as a huge leader in the Americas, not just the United States, because she's had so many postdoc and colleague researchers interested in the same topics from Latin America and the Caribbean. So we're kind of pulling this all together. I am now a visiting scholar at UCI for a year with Judith, and I would like to continue in this vein. I am not a bilingualism scholar in any way, shape, or form. I come from international development, which is how I got to the UN and the development banks. And then I've specialized in education, which is what has allowed me to set up the center. And I have focused on all kinds of different topics, as one does in a developing country. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. I have studied quite a bit higher education and technological aspects of delivery and policy and structure and developing country scenarios more than anything else. So bilingualism fits very well with all of that. And I will now just pass this along to Macarena and then all of you for a similar self-intro, if that's okay. Thank you. Thank you again for being here.
Thanks to you, Nanette. Maybe I think I'm going to stop sharing for this introduction part so that we can all look at each other from the grid section on Zoom. Hi, everyone. For those who do not know me, my name is Macarena Karczewski. I'm a teacher of English from Chile, and my PhD is in linguistics, and I have been working on bilingualism since I was 17 years old when I decided to go to the university and become a teacher of English. I also know Judy because I was also a visiting scholar at her lab in 2023. I also met Antonella and Kat in South Carolina in Colombia for the Bilingualism Matters Symposium there. So I got very excited about Bilingualism Matters, and then Nanette contacted me a few months ago. So I'm very, very excited for this encounter, for this meeting. I can also add that right now Maria Margarita over there is my coworker, my colleague. We work at the School of English Pedagogy, so we train future teachers of English. At different levels. So we have kindergarten that we call educación parvularia. I forgot the word in English. So then we have high school and pedagogía en educación básica. I also forgot the name for it in Spanish. I'm sorry, in English. I study bilingualism mainly from a cognitive perspective. And I have also been organizing some bilingual congresses. Last year, I organized the first forum of bilingual education in our country here in Chile. Right now, I'm organizing the second one. So you are probably going to be invited to it. And also with UNESCO and the science of learning. So that's all I can say about me in 2 minutes because Nanette was very strict about the 2 minutes. So I'm going to give it, so I'm going to give the floor to my coworker, Maria Margarita. Maybe we can start with you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. And well, good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon here, morning for some of you. Well, my name is Maria. I also live in Chile. I am a teacher of English as a foreign language, but for the past 10 years, I've been devoting my career to training teachers. Right now, I'm pursuing my PhD, and my research is focusing on how to attain diversity when we facilitate bilingualism and other languages, learning other languages and literacies in other languages. My starting point is methodological mainly, so I concentrate on teaching methodologies. And what to do, what not to do, what is effective and not. Yeah, I think that is pretty much it.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Excellent. We'll just proceed along with those as they appear on my screen, if that's okay. Reynaldo is next to me. Please take it away, Reynaldo.
Everyone, I'm very excited to be here. I'm from the Mexico City. I'm here doing a research stay for 3 months. I'm a graduate student at UC Irvine, where I have contributed to the Bilingualism Matters chapter there, working in the Southern California community with many families and also running many workshops in the school. So I'm very excited to see this coming to fruition, and especially having had to interact with many scholars throughout Latin America. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known before. It has been great. And even knowing the research that they're doing. So it's great to have this organization to give visibility to the work. And with that being said, I'm also organizing a conference here in Mexico to do that as well. And especially to bring those voices who oftentimes we don't see. So having that connection between the US and Mexico and many countries in Latin America, and especially learn about indigenous languages and research, because now Nahuatl, it's been taught here in Mexico City. So it's something that is very exciting to see and to live, because since I'm here, I can see it live as well. So very exciting to be here.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Reynaldo. That was fabulous. Next to me is Maria Covarrubias.
Mayra. Hi,
Mayra,
everyone.
sorry.
I'm Mayra. No, my name is spelled very uniquely. I am a first-year doctoral student at Penn State University, and I have a master's in speech pathology. My interest is in individuals who use augmentative and alternative communication. So I'm interested in multilingual language development. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Mayra. Next is, let's see, Maria, Mara. I am not getting the names right today. Mara, please.
That's fine. This happens to me all the time. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I am an English linguistics professor from Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. I am a psycholinguist. I do research I have done research in bilingualism for 15 years. But right now I'm doing my postdoctorate in computational linguistics. So I'm building a model of late bilingualism in formal education. But I too have many irons in the fire because, we gotta. So I have another project. I'm supervising students that are researching the influence of bilingualism on numerical cognition because of the rise in in bilingual schools in Brazil. And I also research the influence of personal ideologies on the processing of non-binary pronouns. So I got a lot of stuff going on, and it's all about this connection, right, between culture and cognition and bilingualism.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mara. Next is Isabela Fioravante. Thank you for coming.
Everyone, it's very good to see you, all of you, especially Macarena, Reinaldo, are friends of mine. And I am Brazilian, but I live in Chile since 2012, a lot of years ago. And so I am bilingual for my own experience. And I mean, I am also raising non-bilingual children. And I would say that my interest in researching and expanding my knowledge about bilingualism is about my entire life. But also I have been visiting a scholar with Judith last year, and I am also almost finishing my PhD. I hope to finish very, very soon. And my PhD is about the intersection between bilingualism and cognition, especially attention control. I would say working memory and language processing, and specifically about methodological issues, because I think that bilingualism for us here, it's much more than one single experience. Because when we say bilingual persons, bilingual anything, we are meaning a lot of things. We are meaning maybe more elite bilingualism or marginal discrimination bilingualism, indigenous bilingualism. So we have a lot of bilingualism meanings for us. And it's very important to work on clarifying what we understand for bilingualism and how we can research it in a way that our results represents our context as Latin America. So I think that's one of my most important interests in being here, and how bilingualism, of course, experience shapes our cognition, our executive functions, and attention and cognitive control, and this cognition part of it, but also the realistic experience of it. So very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to see another Brazilians here. So we can also speak in Portuguese another moment, or I can help with the translation and in other moments if that's necessary.
Perfect. Thank you, Isabella. That's great. Next on my screen is Catherine Guevara. Hello.
Hello, hi. I'm Dr. Catherine Guevara, most recently with University of Southern California in Los Angeles. My research specialty is teaching and learning languages without internet in developing countries, which I prefer to call the majority world, because that's what it is. It's the majority of the world still teaching and learning by circumstance or by choice without internet. This was not popular until the pandemic, and that's when UNICEF had me advise the ministries of education in Latin America and the Caribbean about this, learning by television, radio, text message, etc. That's my interest and my specialty. It's how I met my spouse in Ecuador. He is from Ecuador. We were creating an English language television program for people to learn English on TV and follow along with a textbook. I met Nanette because we were training to be yoga instructors. So that's a fun fact for everybody, a secret life of Nanette. Gracias por incluirme.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of the yoga class for me. Thanks for joining us. Ana Fontes, you're next on my screen.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Ana Fontes from the Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul in Porto Alegre, Brazil as well. I am a cognitive psychologist. I've been studying bilingualism my entire career, which is not very long, but I am focused on what happens when the languages interact, when bilinguals read, and when they perform tasks that involve attention and working memory. I am also, like Nanette said, because here we end up doing a lot of things because there are not many of us working with bilingualism in developing countries. I'm also working with how bilinguals express themselves emotionally in both of their languages. And I have a research group who works with science dissemination. We have an Instagram account where we try to make research findings more accessible to teachers and other students who don't have the training that we do. So that's been what I've been doing more recently here.
Great. Thank you, Anna. Next up is Sylvia Thompson. Thank you for being here. So
Sure.
happy.
Yeah, well, good morning or afternoon, everyone. I'm Sylvia Thompson. I'm faculty at the University of Oregon. And I've been working on bilingualism, especially around literacy, reading and writing, instruction and assessment for 26 years, and have worked all over the world on issues of bilingualism, all of Latin America, Africa, Asia, and in projects with former USAID, but currently with the World Bank and UNESCO. So anyway, I was really interested when I met Nanette and just wanted to find out a little bit more about this project. Unfortunately, I have to go to another meeting, so I have to leave like in 3 minutes, but it's been great meeting you all.
Thank you. I'm happy we caught you. And we will, as I mentioned before, there are a lot more people that are on this call that would like to sort of keep track of what's going on and contribute to expanding and growing. So that will be what we discuss at the end and how we can keep this going forward. And so we'll be sure to keep you in the loop. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Let's see. Next on my screen is Megan Sumiko Nakamura.
Hello, thank you, thank you. My name is Megan. So I am currently a postdoc here at Penn State University. I did my PhD at the University of Florida with Eleanor Rossi and a lot of my undergraduate and graduate work with Judy Frohl as well. But I myself am a heritage speaker of Spanish. My mom is Mexican, my dad's Japanese, and I'm from Southern California. So moved away for the PhD, but I study largely bilingualism as a life experience that facilitates cognitive and neuroadaptive change across the lifespan. All of my PhD work was, again, just on bilingualism and heritage speakers, more generally focusing on the emergence of language learning at the neural level. Here, during my postdoc, I've been working more with aging populations. And again, the idea is to bridge those two areas together with bilingualism and aging, looking at neural and adaptive change across the lifespan. I'm really happy to be here because I actually recently accepted a tenure track assistant professor position at the University of San Diego, so I'll be moving back home. But I get to work again with a population of heritage speakers and bilinguals to hopefully again try to keep getting at these questions. So I'm really interested to see like how I can help facilitate any growth of bilingualism matters within the demographic there.
Great. Thank you, Megan. I lived for 5 years in Japan very early on. So, and I used to
I'm sure it's beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. My Japanese is pretty rusty, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next on my screen is Stanislav Mulik.
Hi, everyone. I'm at Penn State, just like Megan just said. I'm also a postdoc here, but I'm in the Spanish department with Julie Ducias. And I was born in Czechoslovakia, which is a country that doesn't exist anymore, but I grew up bilingual because we had all the TV was in Czech or most of it, and then I lived in Slovak as well. But I became a linguist after studying a master's and PhD in linguistics in Mexico, in Querétaro. And I worked with bilingual populations who are speakers of indigenous languages, mainly Otomi, in Mexico, and then with Spanish as the majority language. And that includes a large heritage language population. And right now I'm working on different aspects of bilingualism in Spanish, English bilinguals, many different types, native Spanish speakers or native English speakers, early or late learners, heritage speakers, etc. And it's lovely to see all y'all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanislav. Very interesting. I love the backgrounds of everyone. This is never going to be a boring group. I can see that. Fantastic. Let's see. Next on my screen is Cynthia Hobbs. Thank you for being here.
Hi, you gave me just enough time to drive home. and reconnect on the computer. So it's been great hearing everyone. So my name is Cynthia Hobbs. I retired recently from the Inter-American Development Bank, ELBID. I did a master's in international education with a focus on bilingual education over 30 years ago with Catherine Snow at Harvard. And I've lived in Paraguay, taught a sociolinguistics class at the National University there, and worked on bilingual education programs through the World Bank in Guatemala and Paraguay, and most recently on a bilingual education program in Panama called Hadenga, which received the Khalifa Early Childhood Learning Award in 2023, and we've published the findings of that study in the Journal of Bilingualism last year. And I met Nanette when I was living in Panama, and she contacted me when she started this initiative to see if I could connect her with people, which I have done. And so I'm very grateful to her that she's invited me to sit in on the group, because it's just so inspiring to see so many people doing different aspects of study and research and learning about bilingual education and bicultural education. So I'm very happy to be here.
That is fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Have I missed anybody? I feel like that's everybody that I'm seeing on my screen. Seems we have more participants than I'm actually seeing in terms of faces here. But okay, speak now. All right, thank you. Well, this is great. I really appreciate everyone's being here. I appreciate these stories. It's fascinating, as I was saying, to have all of you at least quickly give us where you are, what you're doing, what you speak. And I hope we can continue to build this. One more thing I will say, and then I will jump into some of what you put on the form as priority issues. I wanted to mention when I was introducing myself that one of this project of a network is a major focus of my year here with UCI. Another major focus is getting a project started on the development of metrics at the macro level for gauging country involvement in bilingual education. English as a foreign language and also intercultural bilingual education. We are trying to develop some universal metrics that we can apply in all countries. So it may even go beyond Latin America, but Latin America seems ambitious enough for the moment. We're trying to develop a set of collective metrics that we can begin to gauge and evaluate where different countries are with different initiatives in terms of policy and implementation and results. So I think that touches a little bit on what everybody is doing. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Macarena, would you put up that last slide, please? This is a slide of what you put, all of you collectively, and some others who weren't able to join us this morning, for topics or themes or interests that you consider to be priorities in the region. Clearly, these are not exclusive or inclusive of everything, but this is what came out of our 20 some responses. And I sort of grouped these into what appeared to me to be three major categories. Up top here, bilingual education, educación bilingüe, and I wrote literally in just whatever language you put it in. So we've got everything from English, inglés, educación intercultural bilingüe, primarily in the indigenous regions that are trying to sync with national languages, of course, whether that is English or Spanish or Portuguese, or in some cases French. And all that entails with teacher training, assessment, evaluation. Then we had another grouping of the more cognitive linguistic research concentrations with language loss, attrition, acquisition, impairment. phonetics, phonological bilingual development, cognitive processes, translanguaging, code switching, and psycholinguistic factors involved in bilingual speech production perception. So that's more in the bilingual brain mind lab category, but also very linked with education clearly and everything else that everyone is doing. And then also I was intrigued to see that a lot of the commentary and the focus of different individuals had to do with a lot of the social justice issues surrounding bilingual education, which for me, in my more policy social science aspect, is also very intriguing. How real linguistic ecologies shape cognition, education, and equity. That is a very big, broad category. How we maintain and fortify las lenguas indígenas, non-dominant languages, heritage speakers, and all the while increasing visibility for bilingualism, broadly interpreted and defined as we're seeing. Its benefits, we don't always consider this as a superpower like it is. We sometimes tend to relegate bilingualism to some sort of inferior status, which is really quite incorrect. So that is a big one. Minority language populations, as we discussed above, and just socially just, context responsive, and epistemically inclusive bilingualism. That is always such a hard word for me, even in my native tongue. But these were, I thought, great. And it's not, as I said, the end all, but it is the start all of, what we're trying to come up with here. So with that impetus, I would like to open this up. I know Macarena has a number of ideas for how we might move forward. I'm sure all of you do too. So if you wouldn't mind just raising a hand so we can kind of organizedly call on everybody for the last 20 minutes or so that we have here together. We'd like to just have ideas about priorities and issues that you think should be at the forefront of what we try to do together. And also logistically, how you would like to see some sort of network developed, whatever you have to offer on that would be very welcome. So I don't need to say anymore, I don't think. Please go right ahead. And if no one raises a hand, I will pass it to you, Macarena, because you had some nice ideas that you shared with me this morning.
Let's see if anyone would like to share their ideas. Okay, Reynaldo.
So I will throw just an idea out there. Since I work with bilingual children that are atypical, so right now that I'm in Mexico City, I have seen the lack of information that parents have, especially working with children that have autism or speech disorders or developmental language disorder. I think it's really important to inform parents of the importance of raising a child bilingual, because I have seen from both the clinical setting and even pediatricians telling parents to not teach the second language or the heritage language because it will confuse them, or there will be a delay, the bilingual delay myth. So that's something that it doesn't exist. So having done a couple of those workshops in Southern California, I think it has been very informative, especially for parents who would like to even enroll their children in bilingual education, because oftentimes only those who are from middle class get those advantages. So I think, having some sort of workshops throughout, like Latin America or in communities that we live, I think it could be something that could be done. And we can even create resources that we could share without having to do it individually. So we do it collaboratively. So I think that could be one of the ideas for the near future.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Reynaldo. Antonella has her hand up as well. Please.
Yes, well, thank you so much. I mean, there's so many interesting, people. I'm really looking forward to working together. One of the aspects that, I'm particularly interested in, but I think it's a general interest, is the maintenance of linguistic diversity, right? Because as we know, I know this, from my family. My mother was a speaker of Sardinian, which is a minority language spoken in Sardinia, and she didn't speak it to me because, guess why? She thought it wasn't very useful. So one of the things that we're working on, in my group is the importance of intergenerational transmission. So transmitting languages from one generation to the next, because if that doesn't happen, the language is bound to die. So we have to work with parents and, persuade them that, maintaining their language is actually a big thing, a big advantage for their family as well as for the language. One aspect that needs to be understood is that languages that are alive change. So, and this is not just attrition. Attrition has negative connotations, but languages that are in contact affect each other in very specific ways, both in individual speakers and then, in communities. And so that needs to be understood. We see this in our public engagement work, that, many people who are really keen to maintain minority languages actually don't accept the idea that, a language is changing and it's not spoken in the same way as one generation ago or 2 generations ago. So this is part of the information that we need to convey, I think, if we want to maintain linguistic diversity. I'll shut up here.
No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Mara.
So yeah, it's just something that you mentioned before that interests me is the tools to see how government is involved in bilingual education, because here in Brazil, we don't have bilingualism as a rule. We do have the one official language, and bilingual schools are these higher elite schools that people don't really have access to unless they have money. And um, there haven't been a lot of initiatives from the government to make this happen. In my state, because public education in Brazil is separate in the levels, right? You have municipal and state and then federal. So university is a federal government, but my state government is now they launched this project for bilingual education so that we can help teachers in schools to foster bilingual education in a way. So it's very incipient. We are right now just developing this program and figuring out what we teach and how we access these teachers at these schools. But having this tool to measure government commitment to it or involvement would be very, very interesting for us.
Great. Thank you. And I should have clarified earlier when I was speaking about metrics. We are only talking about the public system, truly. Those that can get into the private system usually figure out a way to work these things out. But yeah, we're interested in basically what you're describing. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Catherine Guevara wanted to take a vote. Catherine, do you want to talk about that at all?
I was just curious to understand where most people are feeling their passion, more in the blue topics, the red topics, or the green topics, but maybe you already know because you administered the survey.
Well, we did. I mean, I would be happy to hear, because I am really working off of what we got back from 15 to 20 people. And this, it was somewhat divided as I am portraying here, but I would welcome more red, blue, green commentary like Catherine is suggesting, because part of what we would like to do with this initiative is make it very inclusive in the hard and social science aspect as well, not just, individually, thematically. But we'd really like to bring these two things together. That's something that I'm so sorry Judy couldn't be here today. She's actually teaching and was not able to make it. That's why we're recording, and we will get her involved as soon as we possibly can with the rest of this. But she has tried very hard to bridge. She comes from the hard sciences, the neurosciences angle, whereas I come from much more of the social sciences, education and development angle. We need to work together on this to push forward initiatives at national and school levels, as we all know. So that's a big hope. But yes, please weigh in. Catherine,
I guess my question, Nanette, was, do these topics emerge because the folks we will be studying, the teachers and learners we will be studying, were asked what topics they want? Or is it because as researchers, we came up with these passion topics ourselves? Or as researchers, we came up with the topics because we listened to the people we'll be studying?
Thank you. Good to remember. All right, everybody has something to say about this. Thank you. Okay, Mayra, and then Maria, and then I think it's Stanislav.
I think Maria was first.
Okay, Maria, please go right ahead.
Thank you. So I just wanted to build on what Mara said. She was talking about these policies and how bilingualism is addressed in Latin America. To my view, one of the priorities for the public, I think, it would be to make visible the reality. So we have one reality in public and private classrooms, and we have a different proposal from most national curriculums in most Latin American countries like Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Chile. Most of the national curriculums advocate for bilingual education. This is something we can infer because most of them address to content-based teaching and learning and pluriliteracies, etc. However, reality is that in most Latin America countries, real bilingual education is only for an elite class, mainly private English schools, and also with an elite language, which is the language of colonizers. So I know that this does not actually correspond to the reality. Many Latin American and Caribbean countries are extremely rich in languages. Most of their populations are bilingual, at least in Spanish and one of an indigenous language. And therefore, they are also rich in cultural heritage. And to make that visible, like that decolonizing discourse, bring it that kind of decolonizing discourse to the table, I think it would be important because this type of discourse is already well known in Europe. Everybody knows like all languages and cultures are kind of treated the same and valued and respected the same. However, in Latin America, even though that is the reality as well, we are still under a colonizing paradigm. So yeah, I think that would be my contribution. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Maria. And even post-colonial, we are dealing with a lot of interesting power dynamics for sure. Sometimes political, sometimes economic, but they always involve some sort of imbalance. So those are great points. Maida, please.
I love the conversation that we're having here today. Thank you all for having me. When Mara was talking, she mentioned she brought back the bilingual education topic, and I thought it would be interesting and helpful to know who is getting bilingual education. In my experience, typically individuals with disabilities, their parents are encouraged not to expose them to bilingual education. So I think it would highlight something and start a conversation or continue a conversation.
Great, thank you. Another level of inclusivity. That's a very good point. Thank you, thank you. Who else has a hand up or would like to say something? I felt somebody else had raised a hand, but
I saw Sam, but I think they left.
yeah, I think so too. Okay. Please, Kat.
So, okay, I had my hands up, but I just cannot work this. But Kat, go first.
Stan, go first. I essentially don't know how to raise the digital hand. I'm totally lost now, but go ahead, go after you.
I feel the same. I'm using my phone because whatever, this computer doesn't have a camera. I just wanted to ask, since we were talking about these things, I'm always very careful being a white European male working with indigenous populations. Would there be space in the work group, Bilingualism Matters in Latin America, to give the voice or like for us to listen to the people that we, for example, in my case, have worked with who are indigenous bilingual speakers, and to be, first of all, educate ourselves. Speaking for myself mostly, I don't really know what bilingualism means for the people that we are talking about, but also to ask them what they need. Like, how could we come up with an agenda or a work program that would actually be beneficial for the populations? So, um, is this something we could do, like to have space for people, and we could use our contacts for this? Like, I'm sure the Brazilian researchers who are here, but also from other countries, Panama, etc. But we already know people that are bilingual in that context. So, would it be possible to listen to them on a regular basis to see what we are dealing with, and after some times we could actually come up with a program that would have to do with Latin America, because it's such a different context from what bilingualism matters in Europe is, or in the US. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Sam. That echoes a lot of what Catherine was bringing up, and it's fantastic because I think, speaking for myself, I get a lot of my information from NGOs and public education groups that are actually in the classroom that work with them, but I'm not doing that. So there's always a level of disconnect, perhaps, or separation anyway, distance from the researcher to the subject, right? So that's, I think, Catherine's point and yours as well. How does anybody think we might do that? This is obviously a very good point, and it's an important point. And others in the chat and verbally are substantiating it. Ideas for that? My knowledge is from local researchers and from local practitioners mainly, but that is not quite as direct as what we're talking about right now. So please weigh in either in the chat. I am trying to copy all of these notes, as well as feel free to speak up. Please let us know.
Sorry, can someone tell me how to raise hand in this new version? Or I haven't seen this version of, where is the hand raising?
You have to go into where it says react with the little heart. You click on that, and then in there you'll see a little bar across the middle that says raise hand.
Oh, I clicked it, but just a little arrow, and it only gives 2 options. Okay, fantastic. I'm just going to raise my hand now properly.
Yeah, that's the thing. On all of the chat, react, share, if you want to actually engage, you must click on the icon itself, not the little arrow to the side. It is a little confusing.
I wonder if we could have more meetings like this where we actually have people who are bilingual from these communities in these meetings and have them guide us.
Great idea. How would you organize that, or what? Do you have access to groups or people that you can think of that would be interested and willing to do this on some sort of regular basis?
I don't know. I can ask people that I know that do know people, so I think I can that way. I'd have to get back to you all.
Okay. I mean, this is really a very open discussion today.
Yeah.
So we're not holding anybody to anything exactly, but it is nice that we are bringing up, concerns that the group collectively and individually has. Thank you.
Nanette, there were three of us with our hands up.
I'm so
Megan,
sorry. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Megan, Cynthia, Kat. Kat has been wanting to talk for a long time. Kat, you first. Then I don't know who was first, Megan or Cynthia. I'm
Megan
sorry.
was first.
Okay, great. Kat, Megan, Cynthia, thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a few questions, and these are, I always keep my organizer's hat, the manager's hat, okay, and the translator's hat. So I always ask myself a question, how is that possible to put into practice, all these different topics and all these different countries? So I was very, very curious about this meeting. Now, I would like to pose a question which we might not be able to answer yet, but as you know, perhaps BM does have branches all over the place in members, about 700 people at the moment in 34 locations. And there will be communities within that group that would be interested in similar questions. So as much, and as this group, there might be 2 people interested in policy, there would be another maybe 5 or 6 or 20, well, I don't know, interested in policy in other locations. So my question is there any particular reason why you would see it beneficial, apart from you partially answered that question with the discussion just before, but to keep it within Latin America, because I see that common theme of the post-colonial vibes, and this is very important one, but my sense is that Latin America is so diverse within that you cannot really actually decide in one place the course of action or whatever, and then apply it elsewhere. It will be specific to a location and to a country and to policy. So, but there might still be a reason to keep it specific to Latin America. And I just wonder what your thoughts are on this. So that would be one question, if I can just put it out there and hang it out there. And the other is more of a question. Sorry, a comment rather than a question is, Stanislav, you came up with an idea of what to do, like how we can do certain, make it right, make it an appropriate approach towards, or take the right attitude to address specific community, and there were other voices on this. From what I would like to sensitize you in the very, very early stages of you wanting to work on those topics together is that all of those topics are also valid research topics, which means very many people within our community of Bilingualism Matters are undertaking wonderful, impactful public engagement and never treat it as something that can also be written up and published. Therefore, they have to, at some point at the beginning, they're very motivated, passionate, and over time, they have to do it, even if they usually do it in their own time. So this is not something that universities necessarily want to, or other employers, I suppose, support long term. As a project is fine, but we are all aware. Some of you have a vested interest by your life stories, as do we. So we don't want it to be a project. We want it to be almost like a life venture, like, lifelong sort of mission. So when you're thinking about this, try to think about how can we use it to publish. And we have some examples in our network when people actually prepare those. So if, for example, people come and we observe them, or you observe them, and then you decide how you're going to work with them, that you also describe it as a paper thereafter, and then you share it in that way with other academics. So that's my contribution for now. I'm not sure what you're thinking about this.
No, it's great. Thank you. I think everything is great. I am trying, this is why I'm a little all over the place and not noticing all the hands that are up. I'm trying to take some notes as well and be conscious of everything that is coming out. This is an uncensored moment. What we end up doing with it all, we'll see, but it's great. Thank you. Megan.
Yeah, thank you all for such great topics and points. It's so interesting to hear all the different perspectives. It's very like interdisciplinary and representative, I think, of even our own group here. I'm going to take it to a different direction if that's okay. Add one more ingredient to the mix of soup here. But back to kind of the topics that I think Stan and also Reynaldo brought up about, engaging with the community, but also thinking about how to shape policy work, but how to kind of tackle so many things at once. There is no one right answer. But I do think that one very fruitful avenue is when we look at like outcomes of bilingualism in terms of health. And again, a little bit of a selfish plug here for just what my line of work is with aging, but seeing that we have these very, very real effects of bilingualism as this positive benefit for cognitive and neural health across the lifespan. One thing that I've been working with collaborators to think about more is not just the work that's involved with this, but again, the community outreach that's involved with this angle of if we can kind of promote more of the positive benefits of bilingualism for very real implications in health, that helps us not only, get people into our labs, but also connect with these communities and give back a little bit of the education that we have, that we see in our science. We give that back to community and really encourage, like, this is why bilingualism is so beneficial. This is why we would encourage bilingual education starting at a very young age, is because we see these long-term effects across the lifespan, and even encouraging older adults who are bilingual to not, forfeit their native tongue just to kind of assimilate them to maybe the social context of another environment, to say, no, actually, this is a reason to promote and keep both languages, or keep multiple languages, use both. So I think that the health aspect of what bilingualism can offer gives us an avenue to maybe think about how, more ways that we can connect with a community, any kind of community that we want to target then in this group.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you, Megan. We're going to go with Cynthia, and we're going to go back to Kat. And then I think with that, we will close for today. And let's do that. And then we'll wrap up very quickly, but we won't be finishing. This is just a start. Cynthia, go ahead.
So I'm taking it back to what Stanislaw was talking about. I do agree with him that it's of great benefit if you ask the communities that you're working with what they would like to work on. And that was our experience in Panama, where we were working with the Nove community on a math project, and discovered when we did bilingual bicultural that the cultural was that they were being taught math in a way that they didn't learn math at all. And that was eye-opening, not just for us as the researchers, but also for the Ministry of Education, who had absolutely no idea that the indigenous populations learned math in a different way that wasn't the way that was being taught in the classroom and in the textbooks. And by teachers who were non-indigenous, who'd been assigned to work in the schools in these villages. So I think it's definitely really important to hear from those populations. How is it that they learn? What is important to them? What would they like to know? But my other experience is that they do tend to be motivated by projects. So to Kat's point, eh, you know, you might get them to come once to a meeting to share with us, but I don't see them coming regularly if they don't see some long-term benefit from that. And what we did in the programs that we designed was try to work with the largest group of people possible and do a lot of training and provide additional support with the idea that there would be some level of sustainability of the projects over time after the funding ended. Which brings me to the importance of awareness raising, which is something I think that this group could do.
Great, thank you, Cynthia. Hugely important points. And Kat, our final presenter.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make a comment to Megan's a comment about health. And the health element, when we were trying to pitch that topic to even the vice chancellor of our own university, health was the most interesting topic to him. But I would like to share with you as well is that our experience of the science communication in the topic of bilingualism is a very delicate one from our experience, which means we all know, being bilingual, that this is something that we value highly. But the benefits, as we all know by science, are not always confirmed. They do not always. And this is always a topic that comes up in conversations when we try to present bilingualism as a positive thing. So like positive. So it's a positive thing, but it doesn't always have positive effects only, and we cannot guarantee those effects. So we have been sensitized so many times by our own colleagues at the University of Edinburgh to be very careful when we say that bilingualism is positive. So we are trying to refer to it, and we're telling our community as well, try to say about implications or possible effects that also can be negative in that way that they are difficult for those bilinguals and the world within which they live. It doesn't always seem to be all positive. And if we acknowledge it, then we have bigger chance to actually be heard, I suppose.
Great, thank you very much. Macarena, do you have anything to add?
Yes, so we were talking with Nanette how to move forward from now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to collect all your ideas on how to move forward, and we're going to create a Google form. Okay, so the idea is that we decide on when to meet again, the frequency of our meetings, and then the topics that we will be covering in every meeting. So I suggested, Nanette, that before we do anything at all about reaching community, outreach, or I don't know, anything at all, we as a branch, we need to get to know each other. If we're going to be working together before we do anything, I believe we should get to know each other. So the idea would be that next time, instead of bringing someone over or sharing the latest update on a topic, the idea would be to share some of our work so that we get to know each other more. So that would be the invitation. But in the Google form, we are going to give you some options because we don't want to impose anything to you. We are trying to build this community together. These are just some ideas. And also we were discussing also the frequency, but also let's say if we want to do something bigger, maybe a congress or something like that, there are so many things that we could do. But the idea is that before we do anything, we need to get to know each other, and we need to be a community before we do something outside. So that would be the idea. Maybe Nanette would like to give more info on the Google form that we're going to share with you a bit later tomorrow.
A bit later tomorrow. Yeah, what we're trying to do here is really listen and take some notes and see what we can do with all of this. So we're hoping to take all of this and put it into a second Google Doc that that is condensed enough
Yeah.
to be practical and allow for next steps. Nobody has a lot of time to
Yeah.
dedicate any one thing. So we're trying to see how we can succinctly make this worthwhile so that everybody's getting something more with which to do the work they're already doing, not heap on an additional activity, por gusto, as we say. So that's definitely the idea. And as we've asked you to weigh in on everything else, we're going to ask you to weigh in on this as well. So I think we will close for today. We're 10 minutes over, and I want to respect everybody's lunchtime, breakfast time, dinner time, meeting time. And I think that's where we'll end it for today. Thank you, everybody, especially Macarena and Judy and our godmothers, Kat and Antonella, for being with us here today and getting the ball rolling in this organizational aspect. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks to all. And we'll keep
Thank you
talking.
so much. Yeah, let's have another discussion soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, I was trying to.
I'm just trying to finish reading the comments in the chat.
I am literally trying to copy them all before they go away.
You can save it. You can save the
When
chat.
can I do
Ah,
that?
save chat.
You
Here,
go
I
over
got
to the
it,
three
Janet.
little dots
Yeah.
next to the title.
Oh my gosh. Thank
Chat
you.
saved. Shown in
You see,
file. There you
Where's-
go. I got it. I
it
got
saves
it.
to your
Yeah. I got it. I have it.
You got it.
yeah, to your downloads. It sends it automatically to your downloads.
Yeah. It's here.
Wonderful. Okay, I can't do that. It has to be the
I'm going to
initial.
start recording.
Do you see where it says